Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling and doing stress math in your head? Maybe you're calculating if your checking account can survive a sudden car repair, or you're wondering if you'll ever actually reach that $1 million milestone that feels more like a fairy tale than a realistic goal. You see the numbers on your screen, maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's $30,000, and they just feel so small compared to the mountain you're trying to climb. This is a state I call financial sleepwalking. It's a cycle where you earn a decent income, yet watch it vanish into a black hole of mindless spending, leaving you in a state of constant, low-level panic, wondering why your balance never actually grows. But what if I told you that the math of wealth isn't what you think it is? What if I told you that there is a specific dollar amount, a tipping point where the rules of the game fundamentally change? Most people think reaching $100,000 is 10% of the way to $1 million. They are wrong. In terms of time, $100,000 is actually 1/3 of the way there. And even more surprisingly, there is a second milestone, $250,000. This is the point of no return. Once you hit this number, you aren't just a quarter of the way to $1 million, you are actually, time-wise, halfway to your goal. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the mathematical kickers that the wealthy use to stay wealthy, and we are going to identify the psychological traps, the illusion of arrival, and the overconfidence monster that try to knock you off the mountain just as you reach the top. Before we can understand the math of $250,000, we have to talk about why your brain is literally hardwired to keep you broke. Humans are evolutionarily designed for survival, not for long-term wealth accumulation. For thousands of years, our ancestors survived by grabbing every resource they could find today because there was zero guarantee it would be there tomorrow. This ancient software creates a phenomenon called temporal discounting. It's the reason your brain values a $50 dinner tonight significantly more than it values a $1 million retirement account 30 years from now. When you have no savings, your brain is stuck in survival mode. Your cortisol levels are constantly elevated, and you literally do not have the mental bandwidth to think about growth because you are consumed by the next 5 minutes. This is why the first few milestones are the hardest. You aren't just fighting your bills, you are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming. To move from being a saver to a capital owner, you have to bridge the gap through specific psychological thresholds. The first threshold is the $2,000 anxiety wall. Research shows that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases your overall well-being by as much as 21%. At $0, a broken refrigerator is a life-altering catastrophe that forces you onto high-interest credit cards. But with a $2,000 buffer, that same event becomes a mere inconvenience. You pay the repairman, you move on, and the cortisol spike never happens. This is the foundation. You cannot reach $250,000 until you've proven to your brain that you can survive the inconveniences of life without panicking. Once you've built your $2,000 wall, you enter the brutal grunt work phase of wealth building. Most people give up here because they expect wealth to be a linear process. They think that if they save $10,000, they are $10,000 closer. That thinking is dead wrong. Wealth building is exponential. It's like pushing a massive boulder up a steep, muddy hill. The beginning is exhausting, and it feels like you're making zero progress. Let's look at the numbers using a conservative 8% annual return, which is adjusted for inflation. Imagine you decide to invest $100 every week, roughly $400 a month. This is about the cost of dining out or impulse purchases for the average household. Year 1 to 12, it takes approximately 12 years of consistent weekly contributions to reach your first $100,000. The breakdown? Out of that $100,000, roughly $62,000 came directly from your own sweat and labor. Only $38,000 represents the returns your money generated. This is why Charlie Munger famously said the first $100,000 is a total bitch. You are doing all the heavy lifting while compound interest is still warming up on the bench. But here is the kicker that changes your entire perspective. Because you've developed the identity of a saver and learned to delay gratification, you've built the foundation for what comes next. At $100,000, you are not 1/10 of the way to $1 million. You are 1/3 of the way there in terms of time. Once you hit $100,000, the snowball starts rolling downhill. The second milestone. To go from 100,000 to 200,000, it only takes 6 more years. The momentum. It took 12 years to get the first 100K, but only half that time to double it. The inflection point. At $200,000, you have personally contributed roughly $94,000, while the other $106,000 is pure investment growth. Your money is now officially working harder than you are. This brings us to $250,000. At this milestone, you have reached escape velocity. Your $250,000 portfolio earns an $82,000 in growth every single year without you lifting a finger. That's more than many people save in their entire lives, happening automatically while you sleep. In terms of the 36-year journey to $1 million, year 18 is where you hit that $250,000 mark. You are mathematically and time-wise halfway to becoming a millionaire. This is exactly why $250,000 is the most dangerous number in your bank account. It is enough money to make you feel like you've arrived, but not enough money to protect you from a catastrophic mistake. The first monster waiting for you at $250,000 is the illusion of arrival. When your portfolio is small, a good day in the market might earn you $50, but at $250,000, a simple 2% gain is over $5,000 in a single day. That is more than most people earn in a month. When you see those $5,000 or $8,000 jumps, your brain starts playing tricks on you. You start thinking, I've made it, I'm rich. This is where people fall into the social tax and lifestyle inflation traps. The car payment trap. You decide you deserve a reward for your discipline. You walk into a dealership and see that $70,000 truck with the $800 monthly payment. The average new car payment in America is now over $700 per month. Here is the brutal math. If you take that $700 car payment and invest it at 8%, it's nearly $1 million in 30 years. By celebrating your $250,000 milestone with a luxury car, you are effectively trading nearly $1 million of future freedom for something that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. The illusion of arrival tells you that you can stop being bored. It tells you that your life should look as impressive as your bank account. But the truth is, at $250,000, you are not rich. You are simply dangerous. You have just enough money to make mistakes that can delete 5 years of progress in a single afternoon. The second monster at this milestone is the overconfidence monster. This is a psychological trap fueled by the Dunning-Kruger effect. Because you've seen your account grow from $0 to $250,000, you start believing you are an investing genius. You think, if I can do this with boring index funds, imagine what I could do if I picked the next big tech stock or dabbled in options trading. This is the moment when conservative investors go off the rails. They abandon the boring consistency that got them there and start chasing hot sectors or speculative cryptocurrency deals. At $10,000, a 20% mistake is $2,000. It stings, but it's recoverable. At $250,000, a 20% mistake is $50,000. That is 5 years of disciplined contributions wiped out because you thought you were smarter than the market. The most successful investors are the most boring ones. They understand that at $250,000, your job isn't to be clever. Your job is not to screw it up. Your money has finally reached escape velocity. Don't interfere with the momentum. To protect your $250,000 snowball, you have to identify the wealth destroyers that modern culture has rebranded as normal. These are the leaks in your financial bucket that prevent you from reaching the million-dollar finish line. 1. Fast food is a luxury. It isn't cheap anymore. A $20 meal eaten out of a paper bag is the same price as a decent sit-down dinner was 5 years ago. The value proposition has disappeared. 2. Streaming subscription bleed. Most people have 5 or 6 services, costing $1,000 a year for content they barely watch. 3. The annual electronics upgrade. Tech companies have convinced you that you need a new $1,000 phone every year for minor improvements. Keeping your phone for 4 years instead of 2 could save you thousands that would be earning returns in your investment account. 4. Branded luxury clothing. Paying a $190 markup for a logo on a plain white t-shirt is a social tax paid to impress people who don't care about you. 5. The $500,000 house trap. In 2026, a $500K starter home can cost you over $4,300 a month when you factor in PMI, property taxes, 1% maintenance, and insurance. If you earn less than $187,000 a year, this house will turn your life into a financial stress simulator. Wealthy people don't buy these things to look successful. They buy choices. They understand that every dollar spent on overpriced garbage is a dollar that isn't working for their future. So, how do you navigate the danger zone of $250,000 and reach the million-dollar milestone? You implement a system that removes your tired willpower from the equation. You need to follow the 15-65-20 rule. 15% for the future. This is the first portion of every dollar you earn. It goes into your wealth-building machine to work for you while you sleep. 65% for essentials. This covers your housing, transportation, and food. If your needs exceed this, you are likely calling luxuries necessities just to feel better about your spending. 20% for guilt-free fun. This is your permission slip to enjoy life. It prevents the financial binge and purge cycle by ensuring you don't burn out. The payday routine. The most dangerous time for your money is the 15 seconds after your paycheck hits your account. In that window, your brain starts mentally spending money you haven't even seen yet. Successful people automate everything. 1. Employer match. This is a guaranteed 100% return on day 1. Refusing it is like refusing a raise. 2. HSA, Health Savings Account, the triple tax-free secret weapon for healthcare. 3. Boring indexed funds. Don't try to beat the market, try to be the market. When you finally cross that magical 7-figure threshold, everything about your relationship with money shifts. You transform from a saver who trades time for money into a capital owner who owns assets that generate income. At $1 million invested, a 7% return yields $70,000 per year in passive income. That is more than the average American earns at a full-time job. At this stage, your money is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, generating income while you sleep, travel, or spend time with family. The wealthy use a strategy called buy, borrow, die to live like kings while paying virtually zero taxes. 1. Buy. They purchase appreciating assets that grow quietly in the background. 2. Borrow. They take out securities-based lines of credit against their portfolio at low interest rates, 3 to 4%, to fund their lifestyle. The government doesn't tax borrowed money. 3. Die. Their heirs inherit the assets at a stepped-up basis, making decades of capital gains vanish for tax purposes. You might not be a billionaire, but by hitting $250,000 and protecting it until it hits $1 million, you are choosing to opt out of the financial system that keeps everyone else on a treadmill. Building wealth isn't about the numbers on a screen. It's about choices. It's about the freedom to wake up without an alarm clock, to walk away from a toxic boss, and to design a life according to your values rather than your bills. Reaching your first $2,000, your first $100,000, and especially that halfway point of $250,000 is the hardest thing you will ever do because you are doing all the heavy lifting. But once you reach that crest, momentum takes over. Start your 15-second clock today. Build your $2,000 wall. Automate your 15%. Stop sleepwalking through your financial life and start owning your future. If you're ready to stop being a saver and start becoming a capital owner, you need to stay educated. Wealth isn't about luck, it's about systems. Hit that subscribe button right now and join our community of wealth builders who are playing the long game. Give this video a thumbs up if you're committed to reaching your next financial milestone, whether it's $1,000 or $250,000. I want you to comment below with your current number. Are you at the $2,000 anxiety threshold? Are you pushing through the $100,000 total bitch phase? Or are you standing at the $250,000 point of no return? Let's hold each other accountable. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make in the next 15 seconds. Let's get to work.